very special guest on Pack Your Knives today.
We sure do. A former athlete herself. It is a great crossover here with two NBA writers talking to Michelle Wallace, who is the proprietor of Between Sandwich Company. She's also a former Texas Southern first baseman. Is that correct? Do I have that right, Michelle?
You have it absolutely right. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And she was on Top Chef this season, was one of our favorites, an amazing chef. She's got an incredible background. She's from St. Louis. She's in Houston, Texas. We got so many questions, but first, I want to say congratulations on an amazing run on Top Chef. It broke our hearts to see you go home.
Same. It broke my heart as well. Thank you so much. I still am pinching myself to see if this whole ride has been real, and it has been. And I'm so just excited about what I was able to do on the show. So.
Yeah, right off the bat, you came in with this kind of humility, Michelle, and I'm sure people have told you this after watching Top Chef. It's like, I think it was the second episode you came in and you just kind of stunned yourself that you had won the challenge. And it was really just almost affirmation for yourself that it was, I can do this, that I belong here. And me and Kevin were watching no, she definitely belongs here. What is she? She's crazy if she doesn't think that she has the chops to hang with everybody else on this show. But it really is amazing to see you just really thrive in Top Chef. You're not just a pit master, okay, Michelle? You're an amazing chef.
Yeah, no, thank you. Part of that was, for a good 5 to 7 years, my twin sister was like, you need to go on this show. I think you would do well. And I'm like, I don't know if this show is designed for me. Some of these chefs are just doing some amazing thing. I mean, look at Boudeleau. You know what I mean? He and I don't cook the same, And I'm just not sure if it's made for me. And so, cooking is my second career. And so I felt like I started late and I hadn't had enough time to kind of develop. And so, part of that humility might have been kind of self-preservation as well. If I got voted off early, well, maybe I can just kind of get my mind ready for this. But yeah, no, definitely shocked myself. And by the time that win came for the second challenge, I was like, okay, yeah, there's a space for me here. And I do have a voice in this competition. So,
yeah, it's funny. Humility is something that, as NBA reporters, we always kind of put a premium on. You like a player who's humble, who, obviously has confidence, but is humble. But then you come out of the gate with a ricotta and lobster stuffed pasta and a charred corn sauce with crispy chorizo. And it's I'm sorry, I'm not buying I'm just a sandwich maker, humble pit master baloney. No, I'm sorry. There's charred corn sauce with crispy chorizo on this stuffed pasta with lobster. I'm not buying it. Wait, so, but I did ask you, you said a second career. Your first career was what?
So I actually have a bachelor's of science degree in healthcare administration. And so I was working in the healthcare industry for a very short while. It didn't take me long to realize that it wasn't what I should be doing. But that was probably about a good 5-6 years that I was doing it. So,
And what brought you into cooking? I've understood that you really loved your father's grilling, coming home and having a sandwich or a bologna sandwich with your dad back in St. Louis. And where did you draw inspiration to get into the culinary world?
To be honest, really, it was a lot of, in college, not having any money. We would kind of pool our money from time to time, roommates, some friends of ours. And it was okay, what can we make? We have $25. We need to feed, 6 to 10 people. And it just became so therapeutic. And by this time, I'm fresh to Houston. I just got into so many cultures that were here in the city. And I'm I didn't have access to this. Growing up, we didn't eat out like that. And so I just got enamored by all the cuisines, seeing Indian food for the first time and really kind of understanding Cajun cooking for the first time. We didn't eat a lot of etouffee and gumbo in St. Louis in my house. And, I just became so super curious and I just wanted to try any and everything. And to be honest, that's really kind of how it started. I love the technique. By the time that I finished college, I was working in the healthcare industry and it was just fun coming home, pouring a glass of wine and testing out this recipe. Or I had gone to a restaurant, but let me see if I can make it at home. And it just kind of came this thing that I would eat out and then try to kind of regurgitate it or make it my own at home. And it just became just a decompression thing.
So how did you end up with working with Greg Gatlin, who's, famous Fins and Feathers, and then he starts his own pit? And How did you initially, again, it wasn't like you were part of the restaurant mafia in Houston initially. Like, how did you hook on? I mean, he's a football player as well, I know.
Yeah, he played ball at Rice. I was working at Hillstone or Houston's restaurant. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but that's really where I started my career in restaurants. And at the time I'd gone through culinary school and I was finishing up and I was like, man, I was like on a fast track of just learning. Like I got to get experience. And I met Greg at a party once. My sister worked, it was a lady that my sister worked with, and Greg, her husband was Greg's lawyer. And so we ended up being at the same party. My sister recognized him. She was like, hey, isn't that the barbecue, dude, you know what I mean? So we went over and said hello. He was like, my sister tells him that you need to know my sister. She's amazing. And we got to know each other. We became friends. He just had a solid voice in the food industry. I really enjoyed what he was doing. And I just had I like gravitated toward barbecue. Watching my dad, for all of my life growing up, I just was like, there's an opportunity here. And he allowed me space to grow as a chef. And yeah, that's how we kind of got connected and got started.
But St. Louis barbecue, kind of underrated, doesn't make the sort of pantheon of Texas and Kansas City across the state, like St. Louis sparrows. Kind of underrated, sort of second division, often I think in the perception of many. But are you just do you cape for St. Louis barbecue? Or are you sort of like, no, actually, I've been traded to Texas. Was St. Louis the tradition you grew up with in terms of barbecue?
Yes, 100%. St. Louis definitely is D2 in barbecue.
Okay.
D2, yeah.
But there's still something about it that makes it special. It's definitely unique. It's definitely not Texas. My father was a police officer growing up. And so one of the cool treats was if he wasn't barbecuing, he would find all these eateries, around the city. And he would bring home all these like really different things. In St. Louis, there's a dish and it's called snoot, which is basically the pig nose. It's really big in St. Louis. Like he would bring different, like some really cool things. And so for me, working at Gatlin's Barbecue, I think I was able to kind of bring some of that. Like, I was able to kind of start the bologna trend at Gatlin's, and I brought in pastrami, and I started to kind of bring in touches of it. I mean, obviously, Gatlin's Barbecue existed before me, and they were doing, amazingly before me. But again, the beautiful thing is he allowed me to come in and gave me a little bit of space to kind of play around. So, yeah, it was, I like to think now that I am a hybrid of both. Like I still have my St. Louis roots. And of course, Texas taught me so much in barbecue. And I think I utilize both.
Can you give the audience who's listening, who might not be brushed up on barbecue taxonomy, but like there's St. Louis style, there's Memphis style, there's Texas style. And there's probably, I haven't been to Texas too much, but I'm pretty sure there's different divisions within Texas of how to do barbecue. And then there's where I'm from in North Carolina, which is Eastern style or Western style barbecue, which is mostly pulled pork.
South Carolina, you got to talk South Carolina, Tom. You got to mention mustard-based South Carolina. You got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
That's Division 1.
I think Northeast style is probably, I wouldn't even say it's D3, but they think barbecue is just like burgers on a grill. And so that's not what we're talking here. So can you give just like a little Cliff Note version on what barbecue means to you and what you think like the different styles represent?
I think the styles are definitely regional. It's where they are, right? So in Texas, we're heavy on beef. We love a good beef rib. We love brisket. It's if you can make a phenomenal brisket, then you're in the club. You know what I mean? When you're hitting the Carolinas and that East Coast, the Southeast of it all, it's pork heavy. That's just what it is. It's that pulled pork. It's that super acidic mustard based sauce. It's really big and bold. And then when you kind of get Central America, when you're talking Kansas City, when you're talking St. Louis, when you're talking Memphis, it's more sauced. Things are that sweeter barbecue. It's a little bit thicker when you're talking about barbecue sauce. They like their ribs wet. They want it tossed, covered in sauce and cooked into it. And so it really is a regional thing, what your region gravitate towards and what they're known for and what they have in abundance. Texas is it's beef country, and we do beef very well. Of course, we sell ribs and all that things, but beef is where it's at.
Talking about the show, I mean, you basically pick up your life. And that's kind of the first thing I want to ask you about. I was really taken by your testimonial a few weeks ago on the show, where you kind of emphasized that, look, doing Top Chef meant you shut down your business in order to take part. And I'm thinking, this means you give up, thousands of dollars in revenue. And as rewarding as an experience of being on Top Chef might be, I want to kind of better understand how it pays for itself, whether that means that Between Sandwich Company has seen this huge uptick in business or opportunities. Like, explain to me the case for, oh yeah, I'm going to basically forego income, close my doors as I'm trying to build a business so that I can be on a TV show. How does it just kind of not so much pay for itself, but give me the justification for doing it. But part of that is the economic piece.
Definitely. Part of it is the economic piece. A lot of it is self-serving and making sure, like, can you do this, Michelle? Like, what's going to separate you from just being this cook in Houston or this chef in Houston to really operating at a high level? And I just thought this challenge would just be a really great challenge to say, okay, Michelle, like, you can do this. You've arrived. You've just started this business. It's at the beginning of it. Obviously, the idea was on the back end of it is it's just really to kind of let the world know my style of food. My style of food isn't Gatlin's barbecue. It isn't anything else that I've been able to see. And I really wanted my style of cooking, what I can do, really to have a voice. And, there wasn't it. I think this was the best time to do it. I just quit my job and, I have a supporting family, a supporting boyfriend. So, overall, yeah, I didn't make any money for those months, but I still was supported. And so that alleviated some fear just to know that I would be able to have a roof over my head at the end of this. But ultimately, it was really just like, it's going to solidify my voice and what I do with food.
So you tried out once and you got in, or did you audition? Like, I think Dan talked about how he had tried like 18 times or something like that to get on the show. So what was the experience like for you?
My experience was that there was a former contestant who threw my name in a hat. They reached out to me. We had conversations, and it was a one and on. I got one conversation and on. So
one and done.
Very lucky and honored that they saw, my talent through conversation and kind of what I exhibited already. So. And
did you know any of the chefs when you were there, when you started the competition, or were you meeting everybody for the first time?
Oh, I met everyone the first time. I hadn't heard of anyone. Amanda, I saw her on a commercial for Made In, and she looked familiar, but we didn't know each other. No.
What's the hardest thing about the show?
We don't have access to our support system readily available. So the moment that you have a cook that is difficult, you don't do your best. There's no real way to have an outlet. Like, we don't get access to our electronics. There's no phone, there's no TV. So what has to distract you, right? There's a lot of times when we can come home, we can grab a drink and we can watch TV and we can decompress. For us, we're in this situation all the time. And so your mental really has to be strong to get through a tough cook and then get ready to go do it again the next day and get past it. So that's the toughest thing. I mean, this competition is much more mental than it is, actually executing. Obviously, those things are important as well, but you have to have the mental fortitude to get through it.
Though being told do chaos is hard.
Yeah, do chaos, go.
Right. I had never heard that term, chaos cooking, and Maddie was all over. Like, it was, that day was just like, I was like, what's happening here? But there are no clear parameters. And I was just like done when there was like no kind of clear parameters to that challenge. So.
Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying this episode of Pack Your Knives and would like to listen to the rest of it, please become a paid subscriber.
Just go to packyourknives.com and sign up for an annual subscription. That's packyourknives.com.